In today's stat breakdown, I wanted to talk about the recent strong gameplay out of 100 Thieves in their respawn game modes. With CWL Fort Worth just around the corner, they're looking like a really good hardpoint and control team, making them a definite threat for any teams trying to contend at the top. So let's go back all the way to the Pro League qualifier, and then we'll work our way up from there, starting with their hardpoint game. But the PLQ, they actually lost their first 6 straight hardpoint maps. As a 100 Thieves fan at that point, you got to be thinking to yourself, what's going on? They have too much slaying power to be losing their 6 straight to teams at the PLQ, not even Pro League teams, just teams contending for the Pro League. So again, not the toughest competition. And it was right at the second map versus Mazer Gaming where they finally turned up. They finally won their first hardpoint map, and that basically made them go streaking in the game mode, won their next 4, and it really catapulted them into getting that Pro League spot without even having to go through that lower bracket in the PLQ. Now, if we take a look at their Pro League and the addition of Priesta as a SMG and Crowder as their coach, they've looked absolutely dominant in the game mode. They're only second behind Midnight in hardpoint record with an 8-2 record. And if you take a look at their losses, they're against really, really strong teams in Splice and E United. I believe Splice was their first match of the entire Pro League. So, I mean, both of these maps are really tight anyways. I mean, they're both getting over 200 points in those losses. I don't think they've ever gotten less than 200 points in the Pro League for a hardpoint yet. Actually, they must have not, because those are their only 2 losses. So, to take away from that, they're still doing super well even in their losses, which is a really good sign for any 100 Thieves fan out there. If you're looking at their last 14 hardpoint maps and you take that last 4 win streak at the PLQ into account, they're 12-2 in hardpoint in their last 14 maps, which is absolutely amazing, a great turnaround. And with those additions of Priesta and Crowder, I think 100 Thieves fans are probably super happy right now, and management was probably super happy just because that investment was really, really paying off during that first split of the Pro League. If we move on here, we'll take a look more towards the player stats for their hardpoint. So again, they are 12-2 in their last 14 hardpoint maps, so I really wanted to take a look at just their player stats within these past 14 maps. As you can see, Priesta leading the way with the 1.3 hardpoint KD. That's good for number 3 in the entire Pro League. Then you have Octane with the 1.15, Slasher with the 1.10, Kenny with a 0.95, and Enable just below a 0.9 with a 0.88. So, I mean, if you're talking about the 2 to 3 ARs in terms of Octane, Slasher, and Enable, you have 2 of those going pretty positive, and then Enable going slightly negative, but Octane and Slasher's play basically covers up for that. Then you have Kenny basically hovering around even at a 0.95, and then you have Priesta, who's their dominant SMG with a 1.30, absolutely insane numbers. Then you look at their outslaying potential. They're outslaying teams even in their losses. I mean, I guess there's only 2 losses that they had, but 13 out of 14 of those maps, they outslayed their opponent. I believe it was just in that E United loss that they, or just in the Splice loss that they had been outslayed, just because that was a little bit of a one-sided affair for Splice in terms of the kill column. But if you look at the Pro League in just points per game, they're also number 1 with a 245. So again, they haven't lost with below a 200 point mark. So that's a super, super good sign in terms of longevity with being consistent in the game mode. Now if we take a look at their control. So if we take a look at their control, you'll see that they've been a really strong control team since all the way since Vegas with a 15-4 record. That's number 1 for all CWL teams. I think that's really flown out under the radar from everyone, just because they didn't have such a good showing at CWL Vegas, and 100 Thieves at the Pro League choir didn't have really strong of a showing. To be honest, I mean, Control was their only good game mode at the Pro League qualifier, I believe. And then lastly, in the Pro League, they're 5-2 in the record. So 5-1 in CWL Vegas, I believe, 5-1 at the Pro League qualifier, and then 5-2 at the Pro League. So it makes up for a 15-4 record. That's a super strong record, and I think that's really flown under the radar, but it's a great great asset to have because those game threes are really swing potential games. And if you're continuing to win that, it's super strong for your ability to close out series and try and reverse sweep if you're down in the hole. Then if we want to take a look at the Pro League, they're number 2 in the control record just because Luminosity is 6-1, but they are number 1 in control round win percentage at a 67%. So despite having that second loss, they still have a better round win percentage than Luminosity, meaning that even though they had those 2 losses, they were really close losses. So again, for the longevity of being consistent in the game mode, that's looking really good. Then lastly, I wanted to take a look at their control stats for just the players. They're a 5-2 record, and as you can see, all 5 players are going positive in the game mode. You don't have anyone in the top 10, but you really don't need to. I mean, if you have all players going positive and all players maybe in the top 20s, top 30s in the league, that's still fine enough because, I mean, you're not getting outslayed at all. I think Slasher has definitely been their MVP for control. He stepped it up a huge amount in that second week for them, especially in all game modes, but just in control, he has a 1.12 KD just behind Octane, but he does lead in score per minute and damage per minute in the team with the number 3 and number 4 overall in the entire Pro League. So really, really nice stats out of 100 Thieves. So I think with their hardpoint doing so well recently and with their control being so consistent since CWL Vegas, they're a super big, strong threat heading into Fort Worth, and I expect them to do really big things and make some big waves, especially like in the winners bracket. I'd like to see how they face against some of the top competition in the Respawn game modes. They've done pretty well so far in the Pro League, so let's see what they can do against the likes of teams like Optic Gaming or a Gen G trying to get maybe a Search and Destroy or Respawn off them, because I think they're a really underrated Respawn team right now, especially in control, and I think they can make some big moves at CWL Fort Worth.